The world today is characterized by an ever-growing number of contacts, resulting in communication between people with different linguistic and cultural backgrounds.
Bonjour.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ni hao. Hello.
Hola.
Salam. Bonjour. Ni hao. Hello. Hola. There are so many ways just to say hello. No matter where you are in the world, communication is important. But communicating across cultures can be pretty hard. And I don't just mean that there is a language barrier, although that can be an issue. No, I mean that cultures actually have some very different ways of communicating. Some cultures are informal, some cultures use a whole series of ritual greetings before having a conversation, and some cultures consider it rude to show up to a meeting on time. But what do all these cultures have in common? Well, for one, you can offend each of them if you don't understand their communication practices. And we want to avoid that, so what do? Well, to put it simply, we learn to communicate.
So, we need to learn how to communicate all over again, just like when we were children. And just like when we were children, this requires learning language as well as learning behavioral norms for good communication. However, this will be a bit different since we're adults learning how to communicate in someone else's culture, not our own. Intercultural communication is the verbal and non-verbal interaction between people from different cultures' backgrounds. Basically, inter is a prefix that means between, and cultural means from a culture, so intercultural communication is the communication between cultures. Sometimes this is used to describe a single person trying to interact in a foreign environment, but more often it's a two-way street where people from both cultures are trying to improve their communication.
What role does nonverbal behavior play in cross-cultural communication? To understand this, we need to understand the role of nonverbal behavior in any communication. Just as we are talking right now, we are nodding and smiling. And I'm getting a signal that you are following what I'm saying, perhaps even agreeing with me. That's an example of back-channel communication, and it greases the wheels of any kind of communication. Clearly, words are very important because they communicate a specific content, but nonverbal behavior also communicates content as well as much more. The function of all communication is to share intentions, and nonverbal behavior plays a role in that too. It helps us to share our emotions, agreements, and disagreements, thus helping us to communicate our intentions along with verbal language.
What are some common challenges of non-verbal communication across cultures? Consider the people who are influenced in language but do not get along very well with others from different cultures. Part of the reason is that verbal language by itself only communicates a certain amount of them. A person who only develops the language skills without no verbal behaviors that are associated with language doesn't come across well. People can be saying the content they want to communicate, but just not come across correctly, because a lot of what is being communicated is non-verbal. This can lead to intercultural conflict, misunderstandings, and ambiguity in communicating, despite language fluency. On the other hand, non-verbal behavior can also boost communication when there is a lack of language fluency. I am sure who is interculturally competent can go to any country they want, they don't speak the language, and still be able to get along with others. Data shows that language classes that incorporate non-verbal communications and culture in their curricula fare better than traditional language classes that focus in language only.
Now we will explain how to communicate effectively across cultures. Know yourself, understand why you are pursuing the subject phases, assumptions, attitudes, likes and dislikes. Learn about different cultures and values, both US and foreign. Use shared language, avoid slang and jargon. Use day-to-day vocabulary. Take your time, don't leap to conclusions. Allow someone to finish, relax and be flexible. Consider physical and human setting, physical, environment and context, consonant and past practice timing. Improve communication skills, listen and be attentive. Concentrate on explicit, be sensitive to implicit, be aware of non-verbal cues and communicate, establish common goal. Encourage feedback, allow for correction and adjustment for message, create a comfortable environment. Ask questions, listen initially to respect. Develop empathy, understand and appreciate the worldview of others, treat others as you want to be treated.
The importance of intercultural communication in the workplace cannot and should not be undermined. It plays an important role in the functioning of an organization and affects the final output too. Though cross-cultural interaction is not new and has existed for ages, with the advent of globalization, the world has come close together. It's not surprising then that people have to travel to different parts of the world as a part of their job and have to adapt to that new environment. However, adaptation is not always easy, and a little support from colleagues goes a long way in easing the process of fitting in for the immigrant employee. In the work environment, these cultures affect the behavior and values of the employees, how they respond to superiors, to colleagues, and to subordinates. All are determined by the culture they have been bred in. Their attitude towards and their comprehension about their surroundings is also different. Their pattern of communication is varied, and their concept of formality and informality is different.
And finally, on behalf of the group, we want to thank Mr. Alwani for his infinite support. Thank you, sir.
Merci beaucoup.
شكرا جزيلا.
Muchas gracias.